Today on The Occult Detective, we have a mostly vintage book haul to show off. So let's just dive right in. We'll start with some vintage paperbacks. We have Robert McCammon's Swan Song. Nice early edition, mass market. It's a spectacular book. I don't know if you're familiar. If you have not read it, you definitely need to. This paperback came out in 1987. I can remember when it dropped. A lot of people will compare it to Stephen King's The Stand, but it's just top-notch horror, and I recommend this one highly. Also picked up a gothic romance, Mary Roberts Rinehart, The Bat. He was the master criminal of all time, and I just loved that cover art. Normally, with a gothic, you have a woman running away from a castle. Maybe this is a female bat flying away. And the last of the mass markets, I picked up just because it was just too fun to, let slip through my fingers. This is a Partridge Family, The Haunted Hall. It's a real spook out when rock's coolest supergroup invades a mansion filled with ghosts and deadly danger. Is this any way to haunt a house? You bet it is. I just thought that'd be kind of fun, So let's see what else we have in store for you. We have a couple of Juvenalias, Dana Girls Mystery Stories. I love that. This is The Secret at the Gatehouse. Love the end papers on these. Classic Juvenilia in the vein of the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, and the like. Also picked up this really nice edition of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, Lewis Carroll's classic. Love that spine. And it has the original illustrations throughout, and just a nice little addition. We pick up Alice in Wonderland frequently. There's always people interested in these, and I have a soft spot for it. Let's try something not quite so vintage. I am a fan of alt country, Uncle Tupelo in particular, and ran across the Wilcopedia, which kind of is a comprehensive song guide to the works of Jeff Tweedy. It kind of covers his Uncle Tupelo era, some solo stuff, and of course Wilco itself. And I also picked up an illustrated directory of guitars. As people that frequent the channel know that I enjoy playing, and this is just a terrific little guide that I just couldn't pass up. So now, what next? Do we want to look at history, or do we want to look at kind of paranormal? Let's do paranormal. Kind of an interesting hodgepodge of things here. Let's start with the one I was most enchanted by. We have Irish Fairy and Folk Tales by William Butler Yeats. Yeats is one of my favorite poets, a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which is apropos since we're doing March of the Magicians this month. And there was no year on this book. I would guess it probably came out in the 50s, maybe the 40s, but a lovely little book. We also have Ghouls, Gimmicks, and Gold, Horror Films in the American Movie Business from 1953 to 1968. Who is not going to love this? Yeah, this thing is great. Chock full of pictures, and I love horror movies, and this being kind of a comprehensive look at those early horror films, I'm really looking forward to this. We have The Hand of Destiny, Everyday Folklore and Superstitions by C.J. Thompson. How about the QPB Guide to the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence? Oh, I mean, is there life beyond our Earth? Well, they're looking for it. So, also grabbed Joseph Campbell, The Inner Reaches of Outer Space. Love Campbell's work. Hero of a Thousand Faces, Power of Myth. In this book, I've not read this one, so looking forward to devouring this. Also picked up the Star-Lore Handbook, An Essential Guide to the Night Sky. Now this thing's pretty neat. Fairly recent book, but I just love the way the constellations are laid out in this. Always been a stargazer. I thought this one would be fun. And finally, in the realm of the other, we have Mysteries of the Unexplained. Now this thing is really cool. If you like big picture, vividly illustrated glimpses into the strange and unusual. Books like these sit on my coffee table and get picked up and devoured over and over again because they're just loads of fun. Now, history, big stack. Let's take a quick look. This one falls more along the lines of art, but picked up a nice Howard Pyle compilation of one of my favorite illustrators. Just a magnificent draftsman. I mean, exquisite detail. And, you know, he painted subject matter that appealed to me. You know, knights and pirates, and it's one of my favorites. So there's no way this wasn't coming home with me. A dictionary of British place names. I mean, who doesn't need this? One of my favorite historic figures, Robert the Bruce. This is in the footsteps of Robert Bruce. And it is lavishly illustrated. Just the kind of book I like to spend a rainy afternoon with. Robert Bruce, Hero King. Went to Scotland in 2001 and toured Edinburgh Castle, Stirling Castle. We stood at the edge of Bannockburn. Yeah, Robert the Bruce and Scottish history has always been a fascinating subject for me, so it's a great book for me to have. How about Cathedrals of the World? Another nice little art piece. The books like this are just inspiring when you're you know, crafting a story and you need to a place at someplace exotic. Yeah, these kind of books are fuel for that fire. Another interest of mine is typography and fonts. And so this Alphabets and Numbers of the Middle Ages, just a terrific book. Again, this is the kind of stuff that, kind of inspires me. Gets the juices flowing, if you will. Gives you an idea of what's inside. Terrific book. I'm a big fan of the Osprey Men-at-Arms series. So anytime I see these in the wild, I pick them up. This is the Armies of Islam, 7th through 11th centuries. And I love these because of the illustrations. If you've never got your hands on these, a nice little thin, but yeah, you can see on the back here all the different books in the series. I've got mostly a lot like Middle Ages, Crusades, stuff like that. And so yeah, anytime I get a chance to add to the collection, I do. Here's a great book, Castles of Britain, and I love the form. And so this book has lots of pictures, lots of information on all the various castles throughout Britain. Yeah, just terrific. Great resource. And while we're on the subject of castles and knights and such, there's a beautiful slipcase edition of The Monks of War. This thing is gorgeous. This was put out by the Folio Society in 2000, and written by Desmond Seward, and it's about the military orders. More castles, more arms and armor. Great art. Terrific book. Last, but certainly not least, this one really fascinated me. The Absinthe Encyclopedia. And I don't know if any of you have imbibed absinthe, but it is nasty. I'm just not a fan. Of course, I quit drinking many moons ago. This book is so full of advertisements and artwork related to absinthe. It's a drink that's reputed to have hallucinogenic properties, and there's a whole ritual to drinking the stuff, involving spoons and sugar cubes, and a wonderful book. Just, it has the whole history of absinthe and all the various ways it was shared with the public. Sorry about that slight interruption. I was wrapping up the Absinthe Encyclopedia, and again, just a tremendous resource, fascinating delve into one of the most mysterious of spirits. And I guess that's all I have for you today. Thanks for checking us out. Like I said, a monstrous array of books. I don't know when I will get to reading them all, but I certainly will at some point. And when I do, the more interesting of them, I'll share with you. So this is March of the Magicians, and I've got some interesting content ready for you later in the week. So until then, take care of yourselves.